marriage? Kiddushin. Please repeat. Kiddushin obviously comes from the word kadosh. The covenant between a husband and wife has holiness. So too, or so much, that the woman, when she is married, she is made holy to her husband. She has to be totally devoted in all ways to her husband. Vice versa as well, of course. The husband has to be totally devoted and sanctifying his life, physically, spiritually, mentally, bodily, to his wife. So therefore, the concept is Kedusha. You all know that if you look in the holy books that are counting the mitzvot, you won't find a mitzvah to marry. No, that's not the mitzvah. The mitzvah is having a family through marriage. Okay? Continuing the first basic concept that God brought to mankind, to continue to do the mitzvah of pru or revu, to be pru from the word pre, fruit, right? The word revu from the word harbe, to be fruitful and multiply. So if the purpose of marriage is to bring a family, now let's read and we'll understand the elementary prohibitions that are listed here in the beginning of chapter 23. We're going to start from Pasuk Bet. Okay? Let's read it, and now we're going to define it. 1, 2, and 3. Lo yavo fetzu adaka uchrut shofcha bikal Adonai. We're talking now members of the Jewish people, and it says lo yavo. Lo yavo explained, although literally means they shall not come. Here we're talking about in marriage, in order to bring a family. That's what lo yavo is. Someone is a p'tzua daka, has crushed testicles. I don't know how it happened, and it doesn't make a difference. The poor guy, he doesn't have the ability to bring a family into the world. Or krut shuvcha, someone that his organ was mutilated. Both of these situations are situations where they cannot produce a family. And therefore, someone that cannot bring about children in the world, which is not at fault, we don't care, we're not looking for fault here. These are the circumstances, the cold, difficult circumstances of this situation. He cannot bring a family. So the Torah says he's not allowed to enter into Kahal Hashem. He cannot marry the daughter of a Kohen. He cannot marry the daughter of a Levi, or an Israelite. Can marry the daughter of a ger, the daughter of a mamzer, which we're about to learn about, and others that are itemized in the famous Mishnah in Masechet Kiddushin, chapter 4, Mishnah 1. And therefore, the Torah says he is not fit for raising a family. So we have someone here physically, okay, p'tzua daka and krut shavcha. He doesn't have the physical element to bring a family, and therefore he cannot join this wonderful gathering by marriage called Kahal Hashem. Is he Jewish? Yes. Is he part of the human race? Yes. Is he unfortunate? Yes. Can he get married? Yes. Maybe he can get married to a woman who also does not have the ability of fertility. That's called an Eilonit, as the Talmud talks about this matter. Okay? I want to now say the following. Lo yavo is a positive mitzvah ta'aseh or a mitzvah lo ta'aseh, a negative commandment. Lo ta'aseh. Do you remember the thumb of the rule regarding punishment? That if there's a negative commandment and it's violated, unless a punishment is stated by its side, the punishment is, you said correctly, Gedaliah, called makot or malkot, lashes, when we have the court, the high court, and we can issue lashes. Now, one more thing. Is there something very severe in any negative prohibition? Do you recall any severe punishment listed in the Torah for any other prohibitions? Does anyone remember? Death penalty.
Don't do melacha on Shabbat.
Or what?
Don't do melacha.
I know, I'm talking about punishment. What's the name of the punishment? You mentioned one called the death penalty. That's a skila is a type of death penalty. Anyone know something very severe?
To be cut out.
To be cut
Correct.
off of Israel, spiritually or physically.
Correct.
What's the word?
Correct.
Spell it.
Kaf.
Kaf. Reish Taf. To be cut off spiritually. Correct. This marriage that we're talking about here is not a correct punishment. If by chance they found a rabbi to officiate this wedding, and the rabbi did it, and he married him to her, did he violate a negative commandment? Yes. Is the marriage bonding? It is. Bidi avad. Have you heard of that term in Hebrew? After the fact. In other words, let's say Yaakov is my rabbi. Yaakov, how are you? Rabbi Yaakov. Am I, let's say, God forbid, I know someone who has this situation, has crushed testicles. Can he marry this daughter of my neighbor, the Kohen? What will you say to him?
Yes.
No.
That's what we're talking about here. Okay. Are you allowed to marry this person who has crushed testicles to the daughter of the Kohen or the Levi? What will be your answer? No. Okay. Now, 3 days later, someone goes to the rabbi and says, wow, I was at a wedding and this guy married this girl. Shh. Is the marriage a marriage? What will the rabbi say? It is. Even though what? The violation was prohibited. Why? We have a rule. The rule is any prohibition of marriage that's not with the punishment called karet, then after the fact, the kedushin is binding. The marriage is binding. So take that into your knowledge and your account. Now, let's go to the next prohibition. Bevakasha. Pasuk Gimel, let's read it aloud. Echat, shtayim, shalosh. Lo yavo mamzer b'kal Adonai gam dor asiri lo yavo lo b'kal Adonai. Another important concept for us. Mamzer. Mamzer. I'm not going to use this word as a curse word. People call, unfortunately, there are people that don't have clean language and they may use this as a cuss word, right? Yeah, mamzer. Now, we're talking about a mamzer. We have to define who he is, halachically, in the oral Torah, correct? And it says, what may he not do?
Marry
He cannot marry into the assembly, the congregation of God, the daughter of a Kohen, the daughter of a Levi, and the daughter of a regular Yisrael. Who is a mamzer? Okay, a mamzer is a child, a person born out of
adultery.
a prohibited marriage, so prohibited that the punishment of that marriage would be karet, being cut off. And anyone born from that relationship, the marriage, by the way, is not a marriage b'diavad, after the fact. It's not a marriage. The child born out of that situation, out of a karet prohibition, the child is called a mamzer. What is the root of the word? Mamzer. Could be a mum, mam. Mam is from may, from. What is a zar?
Stranger.
An estranged relationship. He comes from an estranged zar, foreign relationship. Now, what are the three cardinal sins of Judaism that we don't give up, never ever?
Adultery.
Adultery.
Murder.
And murder.
Okay, can you say those three, Yosef, maybe in Hebrew?
Avodah zarah.
Avodah zarah. That is serving idols. Gilui arayot. Very good. All the laws of adultery. And the third is spilling blood. Shfichut damim. One more time. Shfichut damim. When we talk about the laws of adultery, we have a listing in two different places in the Torah. Who are the women that were not allowed to marry, to be with, to have relations with? And most of them are relatives, mother and mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Those are all the laws of adultery. We call that Gilui Arayot. Do you know where it appears? in the book of Vayikra. We read it on Shabbat, on Yom Kippur in the Mincha service. The laws of adultery. All the women that are not. There's one exception to the rule, a nida, a menstruating woman, even though it's under the laws of Gilui Arayot, someone who had relations with a woman who's a nida, the child is not a mamzer. I repeat, the child is not a mamzer. So let's just go back to here. Here we're talking about a mamzer, which that child, once they get married, he is basically expressing the sin against all the laws of marriage. He's the product of a sinful relationship between a man that's forbidden with the prohibition of karet to marry that type of woman. Is he Jewish, the child? Yes. Is he the legal son of his father? Yes. Could he be able to inherit the laws of inheritance from his father? Yes. However, he is not allowed to marry the daughter of a
Cohen.
the daughter of a
Levi.
and the daughter of a regular Yisrael. That's a mamzer. He's the product of a bad situation that was done against the most severe laws of spiritual impurity. And we believe that there's a relationship between body and soul. If he was born in this from this type of relationship, we have no doubt that something hidden spiritually is in his heart, in his soul, that he is not fit for marrying the top parts of the Jewish people. And that we're interested in preserving, of course. The Torah is interested in preserving it. So here we are. We just studied a moment ago about the physical immorality to marry, and that is someone whose testicles, someone doesn't have the ability to have children. And now we're learning about the contradiction between the moral elements and marriage, or the objective of marriage, and therefore he doesn't have the basic holiness to marry into Kohen, Levi, and Yisrael. And I want to say the following. These prohibitions are a regular prohibition. If after the fact a mamzer married who?
Cohen.
The daughter of a Kohen.
Levi or Israel.
After the fact, the marriage is a marriage. Is it good? No. But it's not a correct prohibition here. The mamzer, the child called the mamzer, is the product from a correct relationship. He was born from a sinful situation against the laws of marriage. Okay? Questions or comments regarding that right now?
I have a question about, for example, we know that a month can be also a result of an invalid get. So how many generations will this affect?
Let's just say this. Let's say what others perhaps do not understand. If a woman thought she was divorced, and she was given this document that cuts the relationship between the husband and wife, and it's called a kritut. They're now set apart. She's now a single woman. She can now marry. Mr. Hirsch is asking about a case where a woman received an unlawful get. Get is the bill of divorce, as it's used in Chazal's words, our sages' words. So if she received an illegitimate divorce, she is still a
Mamzer.
she's still a wife. She's still a wife. Someone that has relations with an Eshet Ish, a wife, is, like you asked, a karet relationship. And therefore, that the child of that terrible relationship would be a mamzer. That's correct, sir. Does that answer your question? I forgot what your
so that
your-
can
your
go,
question was.
if you're not aware, if the child is not aware of these problems, can it like affect also the future generations?
Yes, it could. And that's why people try to be very careful. When I was in Israel for my first few years, and I started dating, right? and I'm engaging my wife. My in-laws want to know, who am I? Where do I come from? Who are my parents? Right? And how to bring the letter, and something like that. Okay, yeah. My parents were married by an Orthodox rabbi, whatever, in New York, whatever. In New York, you can't get married by, they were not part of the reform movement. In any event, you're right. We have to try to be careful. We have to try to be careful to know about the lineage of the person and so on and so forth. So here we have that a mamzer cannot marry into Kahal Hashem. What else can we share with you? We talked about the etymology of the word, that it comes from the word zar, someone foreign, okay? Someone that is foreign. Are we ready to go into the next item or not? Are we ready?
Ready.
Okay. Now, I wanted to express my appreciation to Mr. Yisrael, who's always bringing me water every day. He's such a saint. He's so special. Why am I saying this right now? Because number one, I want to say thank you. And number two, we want to talk about the attribute called Hakarat HaTov. Would you please repeat it? What is this concept? Attribute of graciousness, being thankful, being appreciative, right? Is a better word, right? Not expressing gratitude. What is the other word? Kfiyut tova, someone who is grateful. That's the word, grateful. How important, I'm not talking about a Jewish person, how important a decent human being is grateful. To give, it's something basic, right? To express gratitude, thank you. Okay? Sometimes I get phone calls from students that studied there 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago, and they want to express thank you. What you gave me here in Machon Meir and the challenge. I've told you guys, I was at a wedding a week and a half ago, and the father who came back to live in Israel with his family after so many years of being abroad tells me under the chuppah, I wish you can get my new son-in-law to learn Machon Meir, to get the Machon Meir experience. That was on his mind. He studied it 30 years ago. How important is it for a human being, and especially a Jew, to be thankful?
Very.
The word Yehudi from Yehuda, right? Jew, Yehudi from Yehuda. Who's Yehuda? A child. Of who? Yehuda is the son of Yaakov Avinu, our patriarch. Judah, Yehudi. So Yehudi comes from the name Yehuda. And therefore, when Leah expressed her thanks to God and called the child Yehuda, Hapam odeh et Hashem. This time I'm going to thank God. I need to thank Him especially. So that's something ingrained in us. Let's now talk about a few entities that apparently are lacking the element of gratitude, which is a basic human attribute. You don't have to be Jewish to say thank you. Am I right? You don't have to be Jewish. Let's now talk about Pasuk Daled. Let's read it and let's discuss them. 1, 2, 3. Lo yavo Amoni umoavi bekal Adonai gam dor asiri lo yavo lahem bekal Adonai ad olam. An Ammoni and a Moavi cannot what? Marry into who? Kahal Hashem. Excuse-moi, they're not Jewish. I need the Torah to tell me that a guy from Ammon and a guy from Moab can't. You understand my question? I didn't ask you. Do you understand my question? Yes or no?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Is it a good question?
Yeah.
What's the easy answer? What's the easy answer?
Why?
Why state it again?
Are we talking about a man from Ammon, a nation called Ammon? Well, let's just turn this thing around here. Over here. Over here. Over there. Quick. Look at the map over here. You remember our nation 3,500 years ago? We were traveling.
Oh, yeah.
You were sweating. Let me wipe the sweat off your brow. Right? We were traveling in this area, and there were two nations in this area. One called Ammon. They call it Amman, Jordan today. Amman, right? A-M-M-A-N. Right? And the other called Moab. They're living here. And we, pretty please, asked them, can we travel by your areas? We're in the 40th year of our desert experience, about to go into the land of Israel. And we met these nations over here. Well, let's think 400 years earlier. These nations didn't exist as nations, did they? Rather, they were two. Who knows?
Brothers.
Two what?
Brothers.
Excellent. Two brothers. They have a nice shirt. Two brothers. One called, turn it around.
Moab.
Ammon, right? Moab. And the other called?
Ammon.
Ammon. Two brothers. What's their Abba's name?
Lot.
Lot. Lot is the nephew of
Abraham.
Avram Avinu. Avram, hey, Uncle Abe, how are you, Avram Avinu? Could you please reaccount the story? You were so devoted to your nephew. Your Lot, yeah, I remember. Yeah, sure. You brought him on the Donkey Express when you came in from Ur Kasdim Haran, somewhere in Iraq, right? Lot was an orphan. And who took care of him? His uncle, Avram Avinu. And he brought him in all the way into the land of Israel. And God was commanded in the book of Genesis, chapter 12, Lech Lecha, go for yourself, the first commandment, first prophecy to Avram Avinu. Avram Avinu took on his trip, his wife called,
Sarah.
his nephew called,
Lot.
and a company of people that they were very connected to, teaching them the laws of monotheism and so on and so forth. 318 members, and they arrive. Lot is under the wings. Who's feeding him?
Abraham.
Who's clothing him?
Abraham.
Who's giving him a few, rib steaks or
Abraham.
what other steaks they have from his cattle or sheep? I'm sorry, lamb chops, right? He's doing everything to him. Oh my gosh. Did you hear about the war? They're invading. The four kings from the Persian Gulf. And they invade the Dead Sea area. And they overcome how many kings and their armies? 5. A lot of people lost money in Vegas. They were betting that the 5 were going to defeat the 4 kings, but it didn't happen, right? So the 4 kings defeated the 5 kings. But we know that the reason that they came in is to look for Avram Avinu. They remember that Avram Avinu was a believer in one God, and their culture, in their way of life, they didn't like that. And the king, a generation ago, who is a rebellious type of person called historically Nimrod, from the word mered, rebellion, okay? Rebellion. He tried killing Avram Avinu. No, it's not written in the Torah. No, it's not written in science fiction books either. Where is it written? In the Midrash. Nimrod tried to kill Avram Avinu, but Avram escaped through the miracles of God. Ever since then, Nimrod has been planning how to do whatever he can do to attack Avram Avinu. And then he has an idea. According to his intelligence information, Lot said, Uncle Avram, I think I've had enough. Yeah, litraot. I'm going to go down to the Jordan Valley, the Dead Sea Valley. I see the green dollar bills there. It's such a fertile area. I'd like to go down there. He leaves. Litraot. That's his choice. He doesn't want to be. Not with Avram and not with his God. Midrash says that. Rashi brings it there in Genesis. The attack happens, and who's taken as a POW? Lot, purposely. Why? Because the kings know Avram is devoted. He loves every person, especially his own family. Avram mobilizes his academy. 318 people that are studying about monotheism, one God, take the weapons with Avram Avinu. I don't know if they have New Balance sneakers or Adidas. I don't know exactly. And they travel and pursue. Hot pursuit. How far?
Too far.
T-O-O, right? Too far. They go all the way up to the area under Damascus. What did I just say?
Damascus.
Which is
Damascus.
Damascus. And there, Avram Avinu, with his 318 soldiers at nighttime warfare, using tremendous strategy and planning that even Micha would be impressed with, and he wins the war. And who does he free? Lot. How much money does Avram Avinu ask?
0.
0. I don't want anything. I want God to make me rich, not anyone else. Not even your shoelaces will I take. Now, Avram showed the love for Lot. Right. What happens time later? It's a time for the destruction of the cities called Sodom and Amorah and others because of their immoral activities. God sends angels to yank out of the town of Sodom and Amorah. Who? Lot
And his daughter.
and his daughters. They're saved. Not that they're virtuous to deserve it. Rather, since they belong connected to Avram Avinu, God loves Avram. As Isaiah says, Zera Avraham Ohavi. The seed of Avram, my lover. Hashem loves Avram Avinu loves God. Lot is saved by virtue that he is the nephew of Avram Avinu. The daughters are saved, and they think the entire world has reached destruction. And they commit what they commit. They sleep with their father, and they produce a child each one called Ammon, and the other called 400 years later, they're nations. They're nations. I'm sure when they're studying social studies in junior high school, they're learning where they come from. Yeah, we come from Avram Avinu, and he saved our ancestral fathers' lives and the daughters of Lot and everything. You would expect in social studies that the kids would be taught we should really have gratitude, thankfulness, appreciation to Avraham. Oh, he's not here anymore, 400 years. Maybe his seed, his nation. This is the introduction to what we expect, that when we're passing 400 years later, we're in our last year of the desert of 40 years exile. Yes, you with me? Mm-hmm. We're about to enter into the land of Israel. It's Moshe Rabbeinu, our leader, his last year. And we're passing through these two towns. One, we really go out to and ask for help, and we don't get help. But what was expected is that they should go out of their way. Even though we had the well of Miriam providing us water, even though we had divine food coming down every day except for the Shabbat called, there was an expectation that they would come out, the men, it's the job of the men to come out and offer us food, water, bread, and they didn't do so. They're a bunch of ingrates. You know what a bunch of ingrates are? These people, they're so ungracious. Comes the Torah at Har Sinai, and God brings the following instruction. I'm looking now at examining verse 4. Lo yavo Amoni o Moavi bekal Hashem. No one told me the answer. I need the Torah to tell me that a guy from Ammon and Moab cannot enter in marriage to the congregation of God. Obviously he can if he's not Jewish. Therefore, what are we talking about? A convert. We're talking about a ger from the nation called Ammon and the nation called Moab. They converted, the chief rabbinate of Ammon and Moab or Jerusalem, whatever it is. And now they want to marry a nice Jewish girl, Seder, but not the daughter of a Kohen, not the daughter of a or Israel. Why? They're ingracious. They don't have the basic attributes. Okay? Here we're talking about the importance of the attributes of Hakarat HaTov. Someone that does good to you, and then you spit on him, you don't recognize the favor. Avram saved the life. He was in captivity, Lot. Yes? He saved his life. He provided their continuation. And here, as we witnessed in the 40th year, we're going by them. They don't feel connected to us. They don't want to say thank you and express by offering basic things. We're not telling us, give us a sale and sell food for, offer some bread and water. We're a nation that's weary, tired. We're now in the 40th year of our desert traveling. Therefore, regarding Ammon, we're talking here about, they did not offer us lechem or mayim. And then it says in the second half of the pasuk, Vasher sachar alechet Bilam ben Beor. That's someone else. Who paid money? Who hired Bilam to curse the Jewish people in order to allow this nation, after the Jewish people are weakened spiritually, to fight them and kick them out? Who did that? Ammon or Moab? Who hired Bilam?
Balak,
And his position was
king of Moab.
the king. I saw by Rav Shimshon Furlhurst. Do you notice? In verse 5, following grammatical thing, I didn't notice this in years before. It says, look in verse 5 again, gentlemen, in Hebrew. Al devar asher lo kidmu etchem, kidmu. They did not precede. Singular or plural? He or they? Kidmu. They. Excellent. As opposed to the next part of the pasuk, what does it say? Va'asher what? Which verb is used to hire? Va'asher what? Sachar alecha et Bilam ben Beor. Sachar, yachid or rabim? Singular or plural?
Yachid.
Yachid. Singular. Why the difference? I never noticed it last in years before. And I saw Rav Shimshon Furlhurst's commentary, and he talks about this. He mentions this as well. Why? Because when we're talking about the we're talking about the Ammonite people, the men of Moab. They were the ones that should have gone out of their way to offer us money, food, bread, and water when we're passing by. And since they didn't, they're going to be penalized. A ger, a convert from Ammon, cannot marry a daughter of a Kohen Levi yourself, to marry someone else than the Jewish people. Regarding Moab, the king of Moab hired Mr. Bilam, was the king, one man. He understands the condition of the nation. They're full of fear of the Jewish people, as if we're going to demise them and run over them. Of course, we're not allowed to do it. Do you all remember? What does God prohibit us? Who are we not allowed to fight? Who are we not allowed to be provocative? Lo titgarubam. We learned in the speech of Moshe Rabbeinu in the beginning of Dvarim, al titgarubam. Provocatia. We're not allowed to be provocative to Ammon and Moab. Why not?
Descended from Lot.
Ki achicho, they're your brothers. They descend from you. So we're not even allowed to fight them. Moab has a wide imagination. Now we're going to demise them and fight them. They're incorrect. In any event, the king of Moab, one man, hired Bilam, the curse of the magician, the sorcerer, who has spiritual powers in the world, to try to curse us, and therefore it's written in the singular. And for this terrible thing that they tried to curse us and cause us problems, they are not allowed what? To marry. Lo yavo b'kal Hashem. They can't marry. I'm stopping for a question as I'm finishing the coffee. Mr. Shimon.
Are they not also mamzers because they come from
Who are we talking about? A man from Moab or a man from the nation called Ammon that learned and studied and passed for conversion. And now they want to have a chuppah, they want to have a wedding. So the problem here is attributes, midot. We're not talking here about a spiritual violation that he's a mamzer. That's one reason for a mamzer that's Jewish mamzer, but he can't marry into the kedusha, the holiness of Kahal Yisrael. Kahal Hashem, the congregation of God. Here we're talking about what shortcoming? Not a physical violation of a matter. We're talking about midot, attributes. These people are ingrates. Even though he's still converted and he's Jewish now, he's penalized because he comes from them and maybe has something terrible inside his heart. and therefore he's not allowed to marry. But all this marrying Kahal Hashem, is this talking about men and women of Ammon and Moab? Do you hear my question?
Only men.
I repeat my question. Are we talking about male converts and female converts?
Just male.
Or just male converts?
Just male.
Give me an example, sir.
Because
Who? What's her name? Ruth. What did she do?
she converted.
She converted. Who is Ruth from which lineage?
Moab.
Moab.
She was a princess.
Let's hear the story. There's a one of the 5 Megillot scrolls, part of Torah, Nevi'im, or Ketuvim.
Ketuvim.
Torah, prophets or scriptures, the 5 Megillot, sir?
Ketuvim.
That's correct. It's part of the Ketuvim, the scriptures. Yes, sir?
Yes.
What are the other Megillot?
Eicha.
Eicha,
Esther.
Esther, Ruth, Shira Shirim, and Kohelet. 5 scrolls that we read, have customs to read at different times during the year. Ruth was during the time of,
Shavua.
right after the time of Yeshua, maybe 100 years later, so I don't remember exactly. And there was a famine in the land, and the big rich people in the tribe of Yehuda in the town of Beit Lechem left the country, people looking for their financial help. They were philanthropic type of people, and they were very gracious, but now they left. What happened to this Elimelech? What happened to his sons?
They died.
Who did they marry?
Moabite women.
Moabite women that were not
Jewish.
Assimilation into marriage. And then when the time comes back and there's no famine further in the town of Beit Lechem, do you know where that is geographically, Julian? It's right due south, not far from where you were.
Yeah.
You went to Har Choma.
Yes.
Adjacent to Har Choma is Beit Lechem. I think we're mentioning it today.
Yeah.
Beit Lechem, what they call in Latin Bethlehem. Okay? It's part of Judah, Judean region. So there, Mrs. Naomi, the wife of Elimelech, decides to come back. And who's sticking on to her? Ruth. She wants to adopt the Jewish people, the God of Israel. Okay? Elokayach Elokai. Amech Ami. Your God is my God. Your nation is my nation. The famous words of Ruth. Okay? And she comes back as a Gioret. She converted. And she later is married by the famous leader of the generation, an older man called Boaz. Have you heard of that name, sir, before, Mr. Hirsch? I see you're smiling for a certain reason. Boaz will tell you that the name Boaz is comprised of 2 words, and they are Bo, Oz. In him is Oz, strength. Remember the famous pasuk, Hashem Oz li amo yiteng? God gives strength to his nation. Hashem yivarech et amo v'shalom. Ah, so you've heard that pasuk before. Okay, you had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich once in your life, and you recited Birchat HaMazon. Okay, very good. Now, let's get back to here. The pasuk is only talking about the males of Ammon and Moab. If they convert, they cannot marry into Kahal Hashem. However, women of Ammon and Moab, the prohibition is not reflecting them. Proof, it doesn't say, it says Lo Yavo Ammoni, a man from Moab. Moavi, a man. How would you say a woman? Ammonite or Moavite. But it doesn't say that. And therefore, a woman from these 2 nations that converted, they can marry. Can a Kohen marry her?
No.
Why not?
She's sovereign.
Right. Can a Levi marry her?
No.
Yeah.
Of course. A Levi can marry Gilad. Can Yisrael marry her? Sure. Okay. And the proof is from Ruth. She was married by Boaz, the leader of the generation, the big scholar. And who came out 2-3 generations later after this relationship? David, Melech Yisrael. Chai, chai, vekayim. So David comes from the great convert called Mrs. Ruth. Okay. Has anyone come up with a current case of a ger from Moab? Can I speak to the registrar, please? How many on your computer list do you have converts from Ammon? What? No one from Ammon? you have any converts from Moab? What happened? We can't identify them today. Sancherib, the king of Ashur, Assyria, infiltrated into the land of Israel. And he mixed up the nations. He deported those, brought them in, deported others, them in. All the nations in the Middle East were deported, and population transfer and this and that. That happened during the First Temple period, as we learn in our Tanakh, in the Book of Kings. Okay? And therefore, we have no way today of recognizing who is from Moab and Ammon. Even though we know geographically where Ammon and Moab is. And in fact, we're going to talk about Mitzrayim in a moment, Egypt in a moment. All these nations were deported and transferred to other geographic regions. So the people living today in Mitzrayim, commonly called Egypt, is not what we're about to talk about. Questions until here? Comments? Is it that boring? No one has a question?
No, I have a question, but it's on Pasuk 6.
So in Pasuk 6, let's read it aloud, and then I'd like to hear your question. You see, gentlemen, Vav, 1, 2, ו3. ולא אבה אדוני אלוהיך לשמוע אל בלעם, ויהפוך אדוני אלוהיך לך את הקללה לברכה, כי אהבך אדוני אלוהיך. So the Torah goes out of its way to tell us that the plan of Moab, even after he hired this great magician, this great sorcerer, to curse Israel, the plan didn't work. Everything bad that was planned to go up against Israel turned in for the good. Israel got blessed. What came out of the mouth of this magician, the sorcerer Bilam, instead of klala, curse, what came out? What's the opposite of curse? What did you call it again? Bracha. There you go. It was a bracha, a blessing, right? Don't stare at him, but you see this Gingy over there next to you? You know what's written in his Siddur when he opens up his Siddur and he walks into the synagogue? He says, the poetry of this guy, Bilam, this guy is the sorcerer. Matovo ohalecha Yaakov. How good are the tents of Jacob. Mishkenotecha Yisrael, and the dwelling place. Who's the author of that pasuk? Bilam. And that's only one of many blessings that he took out. Your question, sir.
Why here we have written I have come in the past? I mean, Hashem should still love it.
Which word are you referring to, sir?
Libracha ki ahevcha.
Ki ahevcha Hashem Elokecha. God, your Lord,
That loved you.
Loved you in the past, you're asking. Why is it loved?
It should still love Israel.
Right. Mm-hmm. Interesting question. I didn't notice that. I appreciate what I'm trying to see. Only Achronim, I think later commentators would make something regarding that. No, I don't know. I have to think. Thank you for that good question. Okay. Who remembers when we go to war? What should be done prior to going out to war? Last week's Parashat. According to Maimonides and Nachmanides, who differed on Rashi, what procedure, what has to be taken, what course of action has to be taken prior to going to war?
We ask for peace.
Excellent. Very good, Julian. We ask for peace. According to Rambam, Maimonides, and brings in the Laws of Kings, chapter 6, and Nachmanides agrees, we have to ask for peace. Yeah, but I don't think he's relating to the past tense, loved you. I don't think so. Thank you.
Because the action we're speaking about was in the past.
Okay, maybe. That could be a nice grammatical answer, Boaz. Maybe. Do you hear what he's saying? Since we're talking about an action that happened in the past and God loved you then, it doesn't mean that he doesn't love you now. Maybe. Mm-hmm. Okay. Julian says we have to ask for peace. What happens? Now, do you remember in the beginning of the book of Devarim, are we or not allowed to go to war against Ammon or Moab? Answer? No. Al tidgarubam, don't provoke them. Nachon? Why? Because they are from your family. They come from Abraham. Lot was the nephew, right? Ammon and Moab, two brothers, came from Lot, was the nephew. Uh-oh, they're about to attack us. Ammon is about to attack us. Moab is about to attack us. Prior to what? To a sancheir of mixing up the nations. Do we have to call out for peace? Do you hear my question? Comes the Torah in verse 7. Let's read it together. Echad, shtayim, shalosh. Lo tidrosh shalomam v'tovatam kol yamecha le'olam. Lo tidrosh shalomam. Look, when you go meet that friend of mine as well, would you please drishat shalom? Have you heard of the word dash? Drishat shalom? Yes, sir. Send my dash. What is dash? Drishat shalom. My regards. Lidrosh shalom, to request the peace. Yes? That's where it comes from over here. The common idiom in modern day Hebrew. Send drishat shalom. Okay? Do we send drishat shalom to Ammon and Moab? Here it says no. But I thought we're not allowed to provoke them in war. So what are we talking about? I'm raising a contradiction. I don't know if you grabbed it. I'm repeating. We learned in Deuteronomy chapter 4, 5, or 6, I don't remember, that we are not allowed to go to war against these people and not even allowed to provoke them. Why? God sees into the future. Root will come out of them and so on and so forth, and they're part of our family. Fine. So, and here it says, don't even what? Beseech their peace and their goodness. So what's going on here? Do you understand the question? On the one hand, it says, don't provoke them into war. Here it says, don't even beseech them in peace. So the Ramban, the great Nachmanides, commented on this contradiction and is telling us the following. In the event that any of these two entities, Ammon or Moab, is fighting and they captured some sort of city and they want to fight us, there's no reason to call out for war. Then we are allowed to go out to war without calling out to peace. Remember, the lands of Ammon and Moab on the other side of the Jordan River are not for us. They're for them. Who's them? 3 nations, God gave them inheritance of land on the other side of the Jordan River. And they are Edom, Moab, Ammon. The land of Canaan, west of the Jordan River, is commonly called in the Tanakh Eretz Shivat Ha'amim, the land of 7 nations. There's another concept that appears in the Torah called Eretz Aseret Amim, the land of 10 nations. What's it talking about? Ammon, Moab, and Edom. We're not allowed to take their land. Why? God gave it to them. They deserve it. Why? They come from Avram Avinu. Edom is Esav. Esav is the brother of Yaakov Avinu. Ammon and Moab from Lot. Therefore, they deserve their own lands. In the future, however, in the Messianic time, Israel will be able to inherit, to conquer the land of 10 nations. The 7 on the west side and the 3 on the east side of the Jordan River. In the event that they attack us, as Nachmanides explains, there's no need to call out for war. Or if they're infiltrating into the land of Israel, and we're allowed to pursue after them and capture any country that's causing us trouble. By the way, if you open up to the second book of the Tanakh, not Yoshua, the second one called? What'd you say? Second book of the prophets.
Oh.
Shoftim.
You said 3 answers. Which one should I accept?
No.
Shoftim. You got to know this, guys. You got to read a chapter a day on your own time. Just go through the simple meaning. 1 chapter a day of the prophets. In 3 weeks, you finish 1 book, and then go and start another book. Just have the simple meaning. We learned about this cowboy called Yiftach Giladi. He was a leader of Israel. Didn't seem to be too religious and doing Torah mitzvot, but doesn't make a difference. He was about to be attacked by Ammon, right? And the people there on the other side of the Jordan River, the Jews there, are getting nervous, and we're going to be overcome by the Ammonites and so on and so forth. What did Yiftach do there in chapter 11? He smote 20 cities of the population of Ammon. So too did David, King David. When there was a problem with this Ammonite nation, he also fought and he did not ask for peace. So this new prohibition, don't ask for peace, is talking about when they act in a rowdy way, that we're allowed to fight them We don't have to ask for peace. Summary. Regarding Ammon and Moab, we're talking about nations that suffer from corrupt character traits. They're ingracious, ungrateful to their history, to their lineage, where they come from. And therefore, when a member of that nation does convert and join us, he is not allowed to marry into Kehal Hashem, just like a mamzer is not allowed to marry in. Questions or comments? Yes, sir. What do you want to say? Yeah, you with the kippah. What did you want to ask? No questions? Okay, fine. Let's go on. What about the Edomites? Pasuk Chet. And what about the Egyptians? Let's read it. 1, 2, and 3. 23, verse 8. Chad, shtaim, shalosh. Lo tita'ev adomi ki achicha hu. Lo tita'ev mitzri ki ger hayita barzo. Two other nations that they have a geographic and historical connection to us. A nation called, number one, related to the color red, Edom. The color red, Adom. Who was Edom originally before he turned into a nation? Mr. Esav, commonly called the brother of, born at what time? The same time of Yaakov. Who came out first? Esav came out first, and then Yaakov. Yes, you remember the story? Very nice. This guy called Esav, a few generations later, multiplies, and turns into a nation called Edom. Where is the Edomite region? It's not next to Syracuse, is it? Stony Brook? Toronto, Montreal. Where is Edom? Point to it, man. There you go. Go down further south. There you are. And keep on going down the center. That entire area is the Edomite region. Okay? That we're not allowed to conquer. Why? God gave it to Edom. Edom is the brother of Esav. That's his matter. So we're told here, don't reject an Edomite. Why? Because he is your brother. What are we talking about? We're talking about an Edomite that converted. Don't reject him. Why not? Didn't Esav hate Jacob? Didn't he want to destroy him? Yeah.
From the family.
But he's family. Achicha. We're going back to the theme of the Parsha, according to Nachmanides. The theme of the Parsha is fraternity. So even if this guy was a troublemaker, and remember, when we traveled in the 40th year, oh, hi, remember us? We're from Jacob. Can we go on your I-95 highway? We won't take any of your water and food. What did they do? They mobilized all the soldiers. They came out with their swords, their weapons, their torpedoes, their Doberman pinchers, whatever they had. They came out to attack us. What did we do? We went back the other way. So much fraternity. Brothers like this we don't need, right? That's the story that happened in the 40th year. It's told to us in the book of Bamidbar, correct? So the Torah says, in spite of the fact that that Edom is worthy of rejecting them. But remember where they come from. Achicha, they're your brother. And therefore, if he converts, don't reject him. That's regarding his actions. Now, is there any worse actions than the Egyptian people? What did they do to us?
Everything.
Decades and decades of hard labor. Huh? Yes or no? What did they do to our little babies and children?
Yeah.
Threw them into which water?
The Nile.
The Nile River. They murdered our children. What does the Torah say about what type of Egyptian man are we talking about? Tell me, what is the oral Torah going to say? It says, Lo tita'ev mitzri, do not reject an Egyptian. What kind of an Egyptian are we talking about?
Convert.
A convert. Don't reject him. Why not? He deserves it. No. Kiger hayita be'artzo. Mr. Yaakov, have you gone ever into a synagogue in Poland? Do they put at the wall of the synagogue the Polish flag, the national flag? No. In Italy, do you see the Italian flag alongside the Israeli flag? No. In America, I'm almost sure there are many synagogues.
Every?
Every?
Yeah, for sure.
In Switzerland also? No. Huh? You didn't see in Germany? No. In America, they put a U.S. flag by the wall.
Darn Kodesh. One side's Israel.
Right. Why? Why? Rav Kook, in the 1920s, when we're still under the ruling of the Ottoman Empire, the Sultan, the Turkish leader, is ruling over the Palestine of then. What does Rav Kook order to recite on the Shabbat services? A prayer for the Sultan. What do you mean? This non-Jew that's so corrupt. They're allowing us to live here right now. They're not throwing us out. They're doing some sort of kindness. Respect that. That's probably the reason why we put a flag, a U.S. flag, in many synagogues. We found shelter. Jewish people, millions of them, over the last 150, 200 years, have found shelter in what's called America. We have to be thankful to Hashem. What about here, Mitzrayim? What does it say? Ki ger hayita be'artso. Do you hear that? Let's go back to Yaakov Avinu. Would you please give me the economic report after he has so many children? What's going on economically in the land of Canaan? How is the futures market for wheat and barley? Nothing. What about tomatoes and cucumbers? Nothing. We call that a ra'av, commonly called in English, a famine. What do you do when there's a famine? You go to the grocery, and instead of 5-6 shekels for tomatoes, you're paying 30 shekels for tomatoes. How many tomatoes are you going to buy? One for the entire week, and you'll use a little slice every day. What do you do when there's? What do you do? Avram Avinu, when he settled the land, he also had a famine, and he didn't leave until, quote, ki chaved hara'av ba'aretz. When the famine was so difficult, then he said, I have no choice. What did he do? Where did he travel to? There's the culture of the world, the power of the world south of Israel called Mitzrayim, Egypt. He went down there. When the famine dissipated and he was able to come back, he came back. The same thing happened to Yaakov Avinu. Famine in the land. What did he do with his sons? Hello?
Let them travel to Mitzrayim.
They traveled. We got a visa. A long time visa to live where?
Mitzrayim.
1 year? Generations. Generations. Right now, we're not talking about the last generation, the last few, which was terrible. Put into bondage, hardship, and labor, and Jewish children being murdered. But the fact that we were able to receive a place to live for generations, you have to say thank you. We are not like other nations are. King David, in Psalms, calls the nations of the world in general, I don't want to create a stereotype, there are others that are maybe different in behavior, quote, in Psalms, Shechechei Elohim Hema. They're forgetters of God. What does that mean? They forget favors done to them. They forget kindness and good things done to them. And they don't say thank you. They don't remember that. The Jewish people, what's expected out of us most? To be gracious, thankful, expressing gratitude, appreciation, admiration, yes? That's what the Jewish people are about. And here, it seems that the Torah is saying, no matter, you would think you would abhor, reject, curse these Egyptians, but if there is a convert from Egypt that joins the Jewish people, don't reject him. Because you know what? We owe something to the Egyptian people. Even though they did terrible things to the others, they gave us shelter. They gave us a place to live. Okay? So that regarding the matters of a ger from... so here we're learning a lot about achicha. Questions or comments, gentlemen?
What does Rashi mean with you shall not entirely abominate? Like every time the word abominate is used, Rashi is commentating on it entirely. What does it mean?
Where are you quoting, sir? I'm looking for it.
In Het, and then
entirely. Look,
yeah.
you can have a general hatred for the Egyptians of the terrible things they did to you, but this as a general, as a nation, but for this particular member of the Egyptian country that converted, do not abhor and reject him.
You have to see him different from the.
Very good, exactly. By the way, can we point a finger? Who is Egyptian today? According to this? No.
No.
Sancheriv, the king of Ashur, Assyria. He deported nations one from the other. Do you follow? I want to get into one more thing with this. We're going to end today's shur, and tomorrow afternoon, God willing, yours truly will give a shur, but in the afternoon hours, everyone is welcome to learn the fine points here of this parsha, which is so many, that if you ask Mr. Novak, he'll tell you how many mitzvot are here in this parsha.
74.
Wow. And if you ask Michal Ragetti, he'll tell you the letters in Hebrew for 74.
Ein Dalet.
Very nice. 74 Ayin Dalet. Gentlemen, in verse 10, Ki tetzei machaneh aloivecha. What kind of camp are we talking about? In verse 10. Huh?
What is the question?
What kind of camp are we talking about? Ki tetzei machaneh aloivecha. We're talking about a camp of war, a military camp. The camp of Israel, we're going to war. Even inside a military camp, do we have a certain situation? We have to keep holiness there. Holiness there. The thing is that we don't really have enough time to count over this. I think what we're going to do, the first thing we're going to do tomorrow, God willing, is this camp of war. What kind of holiness is there? What do you have to dig into the ground when you don't have sewage conditions? And what does it mean regarding reciting brachot and doing mitzvah?
תורנים של המחלקה.
אפשר לצלצל.
זה תפקיד של המחלקה האנגלית היום.
כן, בסדר, אני אצלצל. Can you call Idan? Thank you. Shalom, gentlemen. We're going to stop here, and we're going to discuss some things as we do. And today we're going to do this tomorrow. You can catch this. Okay. No? אתה יודע מה קרה?
הם מחכים לתורנים על הרוחה.
היו צריכים לעשות את זה בבוקר, ביום אחד בבוקר.